You ever hear a story that makes you double-check your locks at night? The kind of story where you tell yourself it could never happen to you, until you realize it easily could. This happened to me last year. I'm 28. I just moved into a ground-floor apartment in this really quiet suburban complex. The kind of place with little playgrounds, dog walkers, and neighbors who smile at you in the hallway. It felt safe, safer than anywhere I'd lived before. But that was before the weekend that made me move out, and never look back. So, for context, my partner was away that weekend visiting his family. First time I'd been completely alone in the new place. At first, I liked it. I poured a glass of wine, watched whatever dumb reality show was on, and told myself it was nice having the whole space to myself. But almost immediately, weird little things started happening. Nothing big, nothing you'd call the police for. Like my cat, Luna. Normally, she's this lazy fluffball who only cares about food. But that first night alone, she would not stop pacing by the front door, just staring at it. Ears twitching, tail flicking, like she was waiting for something on the other side. I laughed it off. You know, cats are weird. Maybe she heard a raccoon. But then, the next morning, I woke up to this faint smell of cologne in the hallway. Not my partner's cologne. Something sharper, heavier. The kind you'd notice if someone brushed past you in an elevator. And I thought, okay, maybe it's a neighbor. Maybe the scent drifted through the vents. Except, it was strongest, right by my bedroom door. I brushed it off, told myself I was being paranoid. That day, I came home from running errands, and the cabinet above the sink was wide open. Now, was it possible I forgot to close it earlier? Sure, but here's the thing. I can't even reach that cabinet without dragging over a stool. Still, I closed it, shrugged, tried not to overthink. But that night, Luna wouldn't go near the kitchen. She sat at the very edge of the hallway, staring into the dark, growling. And she never growls. I should have trusted her. It was the second night alone. Around 3 in the morning, I woke up suddenly. No dream, no noise. Just awake. And that's when I heard it. Breathing. Not mine, not Luna's. This was slow, heavy, just on the other side of my bedroom door. I didn't move, didn't even turn my head. I just lay there, frozen, every muscle locked, listening. The breathing went on for what felt like forever. Sometimes it would stop, long pauses, like whoever it was holding their breath, waiting to hear if I would move. I wanted to scream or grab my phone and call someone, but I was terrified that even shifting under the covers would give me away. So instead, I did the only thing I could think of. I slid my hand slowly under my pillow, unlocked my phone without lighting up the screen, and hit record on the audio app. I figured, if something happened, at least there'd be proof. For hours, I stayed perfectly still, drifting in and out of shallow, terrified sleep, with the phone recording everything. When the sun came up, the breathing was gone. The apartment was silent. I told myself I must have imagined it. Sleep paralysis, maybe. Stress. But later that morning, I played the recording back. Most of it was just silence. The occasional creak of the building. Luna meowing once or twice. Then, at exactly 3:14 a.m., you hear it. The breathing. Slow, deliberate, right outside the door. I felt sick. But that wasn't the worst part. Because a few seconds later, you hear me. My own voice, whispering. I know you're there. I have no memory of saying it. None. I was wide awake, paralyzed with fear, trying not to move. I never spoke. But on the recording, it's my voice. Low, calm, almost like I was talking to someone in the room. I threw my phone across the bed and just sat there, shaking. That whole day, I couldn't be in the apartment. I walked aimlessly, got coffee, sat in my car with Luna in her carrier because I didn't even want to leave her there. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept all the lights on. I held a kitchen knife in my lap until the sun came up. The next morning, I packed. By the end of the week, I was gone. I didn't even care about breaking the lease. I left the apartment exactly as it was, furniture and all. Because here's the thing, whether it was a stranger hiding in there with me, or something worse I can't explain, I'm not staying where someone else's breathing fills the silence of my bedroom. So, if you're watching this at night, lying in bed, thinking your house is empty, I hope you're right. But if you've ever smelled cologne that wasn't yours, or found a cabinet open you don't remember touching, or woken up to silence that felt wrong, just remember, sometimes the signs aren't in your head. Sometimes the danger is already inside. If this story unsettled you, you're not alone. And if you want more true stories that'll make you rethink every sound in your home at night, then make sure you're subscribed. Your house is supposed to be the one place in the world where you feel safe. But what if I told you that sometimes the cameras meant to protect you only end up recording your last moments of peace? Tonight, I'm going to tell you the story of a young man who thought he was safe in his own home. He lived alone in a quiet suburban neighborhood in the United States. But what happened to him is every homeowner's worst nightmare. His name was Adam. He was 27 years old, recently moved into his first house, a small two-bedroom rental tucked away in a sleepy cul-de-sac. The kind of place with trimmed lawns, friendly neighbors, and the constant hum of sprinklers at night. Adam wasn't the paranoid type. He didn't think he needed cameras, but the landlord had already installed a Ring doorbell system and a couple of motion-activated floodlights. At first, he ignored them, but after a few months living alone, he realized those little notifications gave him a strange sense of comfort. That was until one night, when the notifications started coming too often. It started small. Around 1:13 in the morning, his phone buzzed with the familiar Ring notification. Motion detected at the front door. Half asleep, Adam rolled over, checked the app, and saw nothing. Just the front porch, perfectly still. A single moth fluttering across the lens. He sighed and put the phone back down. Then, less than a minute later, another ping. This time, the camera feed showed the porch light flicker, as if someone had brushed past the sensor. But there was nobody there. No shadow. No animal. Nothing. Adam told himself it was just a glitch. At 2:41 in the morning, Adam woke again. Another notification. This time, the feed was different. At the very edge of the frame, you could just barely make out the corner of a shoe. Someone was standing just outside the camera's view. No movement, no knocking, just there. Adam sat upright in bed, staring at the screen. He waited for the figure to step forward, but after 20 seconds, the live feed cut back to an empty porch. The man, or whatever it was, had vanished. He tried to tell himself it was a trick of the light. A neighbor, maybe. But when he finally managed to drift back to sleep, he woke up again. Not to his phone, not to a notification, but to the sound of his front door handle slowly turning. Adam froze. He didn't move, didn't breathe. He reached for his phone, pulled up the Ring camera, but the feed wouldn't load. Just a frozen black screen. That's when he realized the sound wasn't coming from the front door. It was coming from the back. Adam did something people always argue about online. He didn't call 911. He opened his phone's camera, switched it to video, and hit record. The footage is shaky, mostly darkness, with the faint glow of a nightlight down the hallway. You can hear him whispering to himself, trying to stay calm. Then there's a sound, a soft click, the unmistakable slide of a window lock. He pans the phone toward the sound, but the frame is too dark. You can only hear it. And then, something even worse. Breathing. Not his own. Shallow, ragged breaths. From inside the house. Later, investigators pieced together the timeline from Adam's Ring camera and his phone recording. At the exact moment his phone captured that breathing sound, the Ring camera showed movement at the back door. But not someone trying to break in. It showed a man already inside, slowly pulling the curtain closed behind him. He had bypassed the door entirely, meaning he'd been there the whole time. Adam whispered into his phone, begging whoever it was to leave. His voice trembled in a way you don't forget. Then, a new sound interrupted him. A single, deliberate tap. Not on the window, not on the door, but on his bedroom door. Adam's breathing quickened. The phone dropped sideways onto the mattress, still recording. All you see is a blur of fabric, shadows shifting at the edge of the screen. Then, the door handle turns. The next morning, Adam's co-worker reported him missing after he never showed up to his shift. Police arrived at the house just before noon. The front door was locked. The windows closed. Inside, everything looked normal. Except for one thing. Adam's phone was found on his bed, still recording. The final seconds show the bedroom door slowly opening. A hand, pale, dirt under the fingernails, sliding across the frame. And then, nothing. No sign of Adam. No forced entry. No struggle. Just silence. The case remains unsolved. Stories like this remind us, the scariest things aren't always ghosts or monsters. Sometimes it's another person, watching, waiting, already inside. If this story unsettled you, you're not alone. And if you want more true home intrusion stories, the kind caught on camera, the kind that prove how fragile our safety really is, you'll want to stick around. And remember, lock your doors, double-check your windows, because someone might already be closer than you think. I want you to imagine something. It's late at night. You're home alone for the very first time. Your parents trusted you enough to leave you for the evening, and you tell yourself you're not nervous. You're 15, old enough. The house is quiet, too quiet. And then, glass shatters downstairs. This is the true 911 call from a boy named Ethan. And if you listen closely, you'll feel like you're right there with him, hiding in his closet, praying the intruders don't find him. The call begins with a whisper, a shaky voice. "I think someone's in my house." The dispatcher stays calm, asking him his name. Ethan, 15 years old, alone in the house. His parents are out for the night. He's upstairs, hiding in his closet, holding his phone like it's the only thing keeping him alive. He says he heard the back door shatter. The alarm started to beep, but somehow, the intruders shut it off. They knew what they were doing. He can hear them moving through the house, heavy boots on the floor, opening doors, cabinets, not stealing, not rushing, searching. The dispatcher tells him he's safe if he stays hidden. Police are on the way. Just stay quiet. But Ethan whispers back, they're not taking anything. It's like they're looking for me. You can hear him breathe, shallow, panicked, every exhale shaking. They're coming upstairs now. The line goes silent except for his breathing, and then the faint sound of footsteps climbing the staircase. He tries to describe what he hears. Two voices, low, muffled. One of them laughs quietly, like this isn't even a crime, like it's a game. They know I'm here, Ethan whispers. The dispatcher tells him to stay calm, to stay quiet, but the footsteps keep coming. They move down the hallway. First his parents' room, then the bathroom, then his room. Ethan's whisper is almost impossible to hear. They're in my room. They're standing right outside the closet. Imagine it. You're 15 years old, hiding in the dark, staring at the bottom of the closet door. And then you see it. Two pairs of boots, just standing there, not moving, not opening drawers, just waiting. He whispers, almost crying, I can see their feet. The dispatcher's voice stays calm, steady, promising help is on the way. But the intruders don't leave. They shuffle. They open a drawer. They pull something, slam it shut. Then quiet again. They're not leaving, Ethan says. They're searching for me. The dispatcher asks him to confirm his address. He whispers it back. 418 Willow Lane. The dispatcher repeats it. Officers are close. Just hold on a little longer. But Ethan starts to panic again. He says he only hears one set of footsteps now. One intruder is still moving around the room. The other one has gone silent. And then he says something that freezes the blood. I think he's listening. Right outside the closet, you can hear it on the line. A breath. Not Ethan's. Slow. Heavy. So close it almost sounds like it's coming through the phone itself. That's not me breathing, Ethan whispers. The dispatcher tries to keep him calm, tells him not to move. Police are seconds away. She asks him again, firm but steady. What's your address? There's silence. Then Ethan whispers, trembling, 418 Willow Lane. And in the recording, another voice whispers it back, from behind him, from inside the closet. 418 Willow Lane. The line goes silent. The story ends there. No one knows what happened in those final seconds. The officers who arrived found the house locked, windows closed. No sign of forced entry except the shattered glass on the back door. Ethan's phone was discovered on the floor of his closet. The recording ended with that chilling echo of his own address whispered back to him. Ethan was never found. And this is why stories like this stay with us. They are real. There was no ghost, no monster, just people, searching, waiting, already inside. If this made your heart race, you're not alone. And if you want more stories like this, the kind that make you hear every creak of your own house at night, then don't stop here. Make sure you're subscribed and click on the next story waiting for you. Because once you hear what happens in that one, you might never look at your home the same way again.